So Flavour, we all know Flavour the for the music and also for the ladies because Flavour has like 3 to 4 baby mamas that are models and a former Miss Nigeria. That's how elite Flavour is in the woman business. But to our surprise, Flavour in an interview exposed or revealed that he was 24 when he got this Virgin. And I'm sure a lot of people are taken aback. And to be honest, I'm not surprised because I could understand that sometimes it takes longer for a man to bloom. So, but without further ado, let's check out that clip on the podcast where he said this.
Talk about say it how you see it.
Yeah.
But then when I was reading about you,
Mm.
I don't know if it's true, but it came from your mouth that you were a virgin up until 24.
Yeah, I was, because remember I said I was with the band with the
The band for 13
for
years.
13 years. So
Yeah.
all through that time it was just music.
Music.
I didn't know nothing.
Yeah.
That was with the band for 13 years. So imagine that means in his teenage years, he was with this band and he grew up with this band and grew up with music. You know, sometimes it's good for us to understand someone's history and someone's upbringing to be able to relate to their story and know if it's false or true. For someone that's been that dedicated to music for that long, and I'm sure entering there as a young chap, he might, and in the city of Enugu too, he was not in Lagos, so he was in this city dedicated to his craft for that long, for from basically his teenage years down to his adulthood. It's not surprising that the thought of a woman or even sex would be like far from his mind because of course he's too deep in the music and he has people that are like his seniors there, like big brothers to guide him. So I understand this and I actually agree with him, man. I don't think he was lying. So let's continue.
A woman could sit directly up in front of me and I'll be looking at her like, hello.
Okay.
And you know, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know how to start. Even to say, oh, you're beautiful.
Nothing.
It was just okay.
Wow.
There was nothing.
So it's until you went this musical route that now
It
you
was
found...
when I went into the street. That was when the whole
They were rushing you.
that was when the whole thing, you know,
It's not your
even
fault. I get it.
for me to when I got this Virgin,
This virgin.
it was also out when I was, out there.
Yeah, doing
Yeah.
your thing. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
I think it was a bar that we went to open.
Mm.
They brought some girls to come for the opening to make it pop.
Yeah.
So we were playing for them. I used to braid my hair. So
Okay.
innocent.
Hey.
Like I don't even know anything. And then
Shy guy.
Shy guy.
Shy guy.
Yeah, so I didn't know there was nothing about.
Okay, wow.
I didn't know nothing.
Talk about say it how you see.
So yeah, Sliver just told us how it was then. Also this was like the early 2000s where things were not as exposed and people were not as exposed to this type of life as it is now in the entertainment scene. So imagine growing up in in a very strong cultural and traditional space where he was just dedicated to the band, and of course, when he was exposed to escorts at a party, he was exposed to escorts, ladies that will come and just entertain the musicians and the entertainers there. That was when he lost his virginity at 24. So there's no point for him to lie about this. So I understand and I actually agree with that. And speaking of Flavor, yes, he has been in the news for nothing. And this time around, he was at Shopsidu's or Adeshokwe. People that know him is one of the backbones of Afrobeat entertainment. He's one of the biggest marketers and PR of Afrobeat entertainment, Adeshokwe Shopsidu. He was at his podcast, and Flavor said this at his podcast that he is not an Afrobeat artist. And I'm sure, what I saw online was that a lot of people were comparing Flavor statements to Whiskey's statement, where Whiskey said he was not an Afrobeat artist and he was a general artist, like that he doesn't want to be put in a box. But if you look at Whiskey's type of music to Flavor's own, there's a clear difference. So, but let's listen. Let's see how this is. Let's see how the conversation goes.
I get a structure out of it and make it my own sound. Do you,
You know?
whenever because we usually talk in the game, like, oh yeah, these are the names pushing the culture. We're always mentioning certain names.
Yeah.
Do you feel a certain type of way when we as a culture don't mention your name in those conversations?
I don't. Trust me, I don't. Because what you guys are talking about mostly is Afrobeats.
But I'm not Afrobeat.
I'm not.
Talk that.
What I'm doing is African music. Yeah. Because when you talk, there's Fali Pupa, there's other guys. These guys mustn't be Afrobeat. So
Facts.
most times the media just talk about Afrobeats.
Yes, sir.
They're not talking about African music. If you talk about African music, of course you have to mention my name.
All right. So yeah, this is what it said. You're not talking about African music. If you want to talk about African music, by African music, it means music that is more cultural and has not been exported or mixed with other sounds as much as Afrobeat has. You know, Afrobeat, of course, is a fusion of African music and other type of sound. And of course, we have those names of people that are kind of like the foreigners or the people that people regard as the kings or the three kings of Afrobeat, which we have Burna Boy, we have Davido, and we have Wizkid. So when Wizkid said his own, people were not happy with Wizkid because first of all, he is regarded as one of the images or one of those biggest exports of Afrobeats. So that's why people reacted differently. For Flavor's music is very in tune with high life, but of course his sound is more modernized than the regular high life sound. But Flavor's music, you could feel that high life impact and influence in his sound. So we can't judge Flavor the way we are judging Wizkid for that statement. And of course, Flavor's music is different from Wizkid's music. But let's continue and see what Flavor said on this one.
You understand?
You don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
You gotta talk about Flavor. You have to talk about Fali Pupa. You have to
Diamond. So many guys. Yeah.
No.
So you see, is like I always say this to the media. I say to them, I know Afrobeat is popping and we're trying to, But I don't just think Afrobeat is popping. I think Africa is
music.
Africa as a whole, not just the music.
I agree.
The culture, the fashion, everything about Africa is popping. We have to push all.
Facts.
We have to push Africa. But if we're pushing only Afrobeat, we're limiting ourselves.
Facts.
And very soon, it's almost time. You could see, it's almost time. Everybody is denying.
Do you know that?
I'm not this. I don't want to be,
Let me tell you something funny. My producer was asking me just before you came in, don't I feel a certain way that Afrobeats is kind of like quiet a little bit? And that was the second person that spoke to me about it in the last 48 hours. So I said to him, I've already devised what the problem is. The novelty is gone now. Yeah. The fact that Afrobeats was a new thing where everybody was so excited. Now they've accepted that, okay, you are now part of the stable music genre. So now we want to see more. It's not just going to be hype and TikTok now.
Yeah.
It's time for music.
Good.
So if the music is not really good, the world is not going to respond.
Yeah.
And that's where we are. So it's not even that. It's now time for the real music from Africa to now step up.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we are now.
Sure.
Wow.
That's where we are. Because if we don't accept what is happening right now, we're gonna lose out.
Facts.
We will, big time. So there's no two ways about it. It's just for us to accept the fact that we are Africans and there's so much to Africa than just Afrobeats.
All right. So, in as much as Afrobeat is the genre that is popping and is everywhere, Flavour just said my thoughts. Of course, that we have to accept that there's so much to Africa than just Afrobeat music. There are other genres of music in Africa. There are other types of music in Africa that are popping, even though Afrobeat is kind of like in the lead role right now, it's in the front of things and it's popping. But yeah, this was a good, an enlightening podcast from Flavour and Shopsidu. It's one that you should watch. But that is just my take on it. Tell me what you think about this conversation and the conversation before this. I'll go by the name East Coast Prince. Please subscribe to Storyteller Nigeria, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.